we start the next session. For the moderator for this session is Dr. Shalini Rajneesh. She's an IAS chairman, Tumakuru Smart Cities. And may I request the speakers, Ms. Thanawan, to come up on the dais, please. Mr. Mohamed, can I request you to come up on the dais, please? Mr. Kyong, on the dais, please. And last but not the least, Mr. Ravi Ranjan Guru. May I have you on the dais, please? We start the session, so please be seated.
I welcome the speakers of the day to the second session titled Cross-Learning and Knowledge Sharing. Well, Smart Cities has made the globe a village and the whole of world population a single community. And the evolution of human development says that the more we share knowledge with each other, the more we grow. And in that spirit, I'm sure this session, which has speakers from all over the world, would really enhance to our understanding of the developments that are going on and also our adaptation to new technologies and innovations to make our cities smarter. So with that, I would request Mr. Thanawan, Head Division, Communication and Member Services, UCLG-APAC, to start his presentation. Her presentation.
You got the PowerPoint? Hello. How do I change the PowerPoint? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, already. Oh, it's not here. Oh, it's not here. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. My name is Thanawan Klumklomchit. Actually, just call me Bam. That's my nickname. The moderator kindly introduced me. I'm a head of communication and member service from the United Cities and local government based in Jakarta, covering Asia-Pacific region. Actually, I prepared a PowerPoint presentation, but maybe it will come later, but otherwise I will just go ahead. I think since I've been here yesterday, perhaps I'm the only one from Southeast Asian country. I'm from Thailand, and even though we focused, for the whole Asia-Pacific region, I think today is probably more helpful if I share with you the cooperation framework in the context of ASEAN. And also, I will share with you some of the projects on smart cities in some of ASEAN member countries. I hope that would be interesting and helpful for you. Before I get into ASEAN-focused experience and lessons, just a quick snapshot on the rationale, the reason why we have to think about how we plan our future, how we have to employ all kind of, techniques, technology for one, but like we heard a lot, we have to think about many other aspects in order to actually improve our quality of life. And a few key reasons that we have to think ahead and we have to plan ahead. And actually we have to take action right now for the upcoming future is that, as you know, the trend of urbanization. I give you a quick figures just to show you, give you a perspective. In 1970s, we have only 2 mega cities, meaning cities that have more than 10 million population. Today, we have 33 cities altogether, and the number continue to increase. In terms of population, 65 years ago, the world urban population in this world is only 751 million. Fast forward to 65 years later, the number increased 5.5 times. We have about 4.2 billion urban population. In 2015, that number will also increase significantly. Now, this is the trend that we face all over the world, particularly situation in Asia Pacific and ASEAN, also have this situation or challenges that we face. And it's unprecedented. So, whatever we've done in the past, we have to think about a better way, a more innovative way, creative way to accommodate, the growing urbanization and the bigger cities that majority of us will live in the coming futures, our children, our grandchildren. So now, in terms of challenge, I'm going to skip this part. I think we've heard a lot about it. But within the ASEAN context, one of the main challenges is pollution. And pollution comes with many other impacts, on people's quality of life. In ASEAN right now, a lot of big cities in ASEAN are very important in terms of contributing to economic growth, and that is the good thing. But we also found that, for instance, the number of population in ASEAN urban cities, while it's increasing about 3%, the level of green gas house emission increased double of that, around 6.1%. So this is the kind of proportion is not going to be sustainable in the future. Also, ASEAN, a lot of countries, a lot of cities are located in a natural disaster prone area. So in the future, when more people around, I think by 2030, 90 million more people will move to the cities. What it means, my presentation is here. Should I use it? Okay, sorry. I will. This I already spoke, so I'm just going to skip very quickly, yeah? Sorry. Yes, thank you. These are the challenges that I already mentioned. Sorry. So, just quickly, I'm at the last point right now, where by 2030, the number of people in ASEAN that will live in extreme risk areas for natural disaster will increase by 50% as compared to year 2015. Now, you may look at this as a challenge, but I also look at it as an opportunity. Why? Because study shows that close to 60% of the infrastructure projects to accommodate future enlarged city are yet to be built. So meaning we have to come up with infrastructure, we have to come up with ways to accommodate the increasing urbanization. And this is the opportunities that we have to think carefully and we have to do it right. And that's why cooperation like this, platform like this is very important. And this is something that ASEAN is scaling up that cooperation within the region, but also at the local city level as well. A quick frameworks that I want to present to you within the ASEAN region. The first one is a master plan on ASEAN connectivity. This one was adopted in 2015, and it's a plan to create connectivity among 10 ASEAN member countries in all areas. Yeah, not just on urban issue, social, economic, but also physical connectivity. And this master plan also set up a goal to scale up the sharing of smart urbanization models across cities in Asia. This is an overarching strategic goal. And within that, we have two other frameworks. The first one is ASEAN Sustainable Urbanization Strategy. We call it ASUS. This strategy was just published last year, and it set out some of the common priorities for ASEAN member states to work together. And the last one is the one that I'm going to present to you. It's called ASEAN Smart Cities Network. This is a network of 28 cities in ASEAN member countries that come together. And this is a platform where they share their experience, their technology, but also to explore concrete collaboration in terms of know-how, in terms of funding. So the three projects that I'm going to present to you are the projects that being implemented under ASEAN Smart Cities Network. Quickly, under this ASEAN Smart City Network, they focus on 6 areas: civic and social, health and well-being, safety and security, quality environment, on infrastructure, and industry and innovation. What I'm going to present today will focus on the 3 areas that I circle: civic and social, health, and quality environment. The graph that you see on the other side, just to show the number of projects in each area, and you will see that a lot of ASEAN cities focus on health and well-being. Most of the projects being implemented under this framework are on health and well-being, followed by environment. So the first project, this is from Yangon. I thought I'm going to show you the initiative in cities that we don't really think that they, working on technology, smart city, but actually, countries in ASEAN, the least developed country, now they start scaling up their work in this area. And this is the project called Yangon Downtown Conservative Project. Yangon is the capital well, actually Naypyidaw is the capital, sorry, it has been moved. But Yangon is a city in Yangon, in Myanmar, sorry. And within the downtown occupy only 2% of the whole Yangon area, but actually have about 3,000 pre-colonial architecturals. So the authority of Yangon have come up with the project to conserve all this building, and they've been working with the different partners to use GIS-based map to use in various aspects of zoning, looking the way all these structures being used and how to renovate, rehabilitate them, and how to better come up with a zoning for the future. And also around that, they also think about using GIS also to manage the traffic around this area. The second initiative is from the town called Makassar, which is a town in Indonesia, in Sulawesi island. It's the 5th largest city of Indonesia. And Makassar already had their smart city plan and project that launched in 2014, working in different aspects. But I want to show you this one that focus on how to better provide healthcare service to people using smart technology, starting from having an application where people can sign up and also where people can communicate with the healthcare service. And if they need emergency care or even diagnosis or follow-up care, they can use this system to get the service from the authority. And finally, the last one that I would like to share with you is from Luang Prabang. Luang Prabang is a very beautiful town in Lao PDR. They have a lot of ponds, a lot of lakes, which are ancient and have a lot of ecological value. But the ponds are being threatened by a lot of environmental problems, waste management for one. So the city of Luang Prabang, being part of ASEAN Smart City Network, are partnered up with both private and public, foreign and domestic partner to employ different type of technologies, to help them understand better the condition of the ponds, and also to see, to monitor how different economic activities have environmental impact at the pond, and also to regulate water in order to make the pond serve its purpose better, for example, in preventing flood in the city. So that's it. That's the experience from ASEAN that I would like to share with you, and happy to take up your question later. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Thanawan. It was a wonderful presentation, and I'm sure you'll help us replicate it across ASEAN. I now request Mr. Mohamed Shafeeg Mahmood Chief Executive Officers, LGA Maldives, who, to make his presentation, he's a management professional for last 30 years. He's in this field, and I'm sure all of us will benefit by his presentation. Over to you.
Greetings from the Maldives, the sunny side of life, as they call it. The geographical dispersion of the country is one of the biggest challenges that Maldives faces. I would like to share some of the initiatives that we have taken for inclusivity in the community, and just to give you a brief idea of the numbers. Maldives consists of 1,120 islands, 90% of which is no bigger than 2 square kilometers. And they are widely dispersed over an area of about 450 miles in length from the Arabian Sea into the Indian Ocean. Out of the 1,200 islands, people live only on 202 of them. And you can imagine the size of the communities in these small islands. The entire population is 400,000, which is smaller probably than, I don't know, the lowest level of municipal units over here in India. But I'm sure it would be probably 50,000, yeah. So we are about 4 times the size of the smallest ones in the entirety of the country. Now, of this 400,000, close to 50% are aged 20 and under. So you can imagine the challenge. And technology-wise, we are very well connected today, 100% connectivity over mobile networks, fiber and all of that. But the problem is, because the communities are small, there isn't a major urbanized center that we can probably call a city. But the urge of the young people, of the families living in these communities, they have the need for education, health services, and all of that makes them urban migrants in the Malay capital region, which is about 70,000 people in together, housed on 3 islands connected by bridges and water taxis and all of that. The local council system came in 2010. For the past few years, we have been having elections into the councils. And then the sad part of the thing is, out of the 670 councillors that are elected, about 10 are women. So I'm going to speak to you about 2 things. One would be the inclusivity and the empowerment of women in the governance system in the country. What we have done is we have mandated under legislation to include women in the councils that are elected on one side. The other is that we have mandated under law that there should be women's development committees which are financed, paid by the government, so that they would be participating in all the activities of the councils in these small communities. Because of the size of the islands and everything, capacity is an issue. For the councillors to be elected, we have very few criteria. They have to be like a Maldivian citizen, very simple stuff. So what happens is, mostly the people who live in those areas are who are remaining after the urban migration into the capital area. So capacity becomes an issue. But what we are doing is we are electing them and then handing over levers of government power into their hands, which they are unable to deliver. So capacity building is a major issue. On the issue of women's empowerment, these communities have now started electing their women's development committees and engaging in the development process, because they have to do their development plans every 5 years, and they have to sit down with the island communities to understand their needs and bring forward whatever aspirations they have, which is then amalgamated into the national budgets, and they are provided with the money for their development. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. We are really fortunate to have with us the Secretary General of World Smart Sustainable Cities Organization, South Korea.
Thank you very much.
We welcome you, sir, and just to let you know that he has been the ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Angola. And today, in this capacity, he is able to help all of us to foster international exchange, cooperation, and learning among 160 plus cities, smart cities in the world. Welcome, and request you to present.
Thank you very much. Good morning. This is my honor to be invited. The overarching theme of this conference, as far as I understand, is Cities for All. And I like it very much. And my organization, WeGO, is working on building smart cities for all humanity. That's our vision. And we are a smart city platform where we can share information and best practices. So far, we have one and only Indian city as a member, which is Agra. But you're building 100 smart cities right now, right? That's why I came to India. This is my first time. I'm happy to come here. Well, having said that, I'm always emphasizing the role of citizens in building smart cities. Well, last night, we witnessed a big celebration of the biggest democracy in the world, even though I could not drink at all. Well, you decide your future by casting a vote, right? But in a state level, it's rather indirect. But in a city level, it's very direct and participatory. And participatory element makes a big difference. I would give you one specific example. Well, what I'm always saying is that smart city is not possible without civic participation. Well, WeGo's secretariat is located in the capital city of South Korea, Seoul. Of course, that doesn't mean we are representing Korean government. We are independent international organization. But the Seoul cities are one of our biggest members. So I sometimes showcase or advertise Seoul's good practice of smart city policies. Well, apart from infrastructures for smart water supply, waste disposal or security, it runs a very unique online 24/7 online system called the Civic Participation System, whereby all the citizens can submit their complaints, proposals, anything they like, through various channels, about more than 10 channels, 24/7 online system. And every day, Seoul Metropolitan Government receives 25,000 submissions registered online, most of which are responded to within several hours. Of course, legal deadline is something like 48 hours. But, Koreans are very impatient people. They have to respond within several hours. Anyhow. Well, Seoul City is not the only example experimenting such a smart policy. Moscow is doing that, Jakarta is doing that, and Seberang Perai from Malaysia is doing that. And you are beginning to do that, I guess. And that is very important because people are at the center of the city. They are the owners of the city. It's not the mayors or city administrators who own the city. It's the citizens, because citizens are the people who feel happy or unhappy about the municipality. And that's how they come up with new solutions, complaints and such. They identify problems to solve, and they come up with solutions to solve. Well, looking briefly back to the history, I understand, I think the history of human civilization is history of cities. Since the Garden of Eden, innumerable cities rose and fell. Many cities. Of course, many were smart cities back then without ICT technologies. They used and built a smart city, their cities by using the best available technologies. Sometimes I think a smart technology is a misnomer. Smart technology does not have to be necessarily ICT. The best available technology is a smart technology, and it happens to be ICT these days. It's the best available technology anyhow. But what I'm saying is the cities in the past were quite different in the sense that they served only a small portion of people. They served only chosen people. But cities today should serve all the people without alienation, without discrimination. Okay? And that's what I'm always emphasizing. And I said earlier that citizens should be at the center. And city administrators should be open to new ideas and should admit that they don't know a thing. I used to be a government official in the past. Usually, government people don't know a thing. But, we have to admit that. Citizens know a lot better. Private sector knows a lot better. That's why we come up with PPPs, public-private partnerships, right? And you know, public sector provides a business environment. You know, for example, making regulations and laws and, you know, and such for facilitating business, right? And private sector puts in their expertise and investment. It's a partnership. It has a long history. For example, how long do I have?
5 minutes.
2 more?
2 minutes?
2 minutes more? Okay. Okay. In the 15th century European, North Europe, there was an urban association called League of Hansa. It's an inter-urban association of a couple of hundred cities. Cities provide the merchants and guilds with business opportunities, laws and regulations, sometimes armies to protect them. And merchants and guilds, simply put, private sector, made their investment, built their ports and roads and, you know, such. And you know, the partnership was very successful. The same modality of cooperation, collaboration applies to smart cities these days. Private sector puts in investment. They invest to set up a smart city platform, for example. And the city and government provides a legal framework. And if the platform is successful for the business sector, they get money. If it is not successful, then they have to forget the money they invested. That kind of thing. But now, I'm not emphasizing PPP per se. I like to emphasize not 3P, but one more P. PPPP, 4 Ps. We should add one more P, which is people. Public-private people partnership. Because for two reasons. Private sector has always two tendencies. Number one, they are bragging always too much about their products. Most of the time, not most of the time, but sometimes citizens don't need them. Number two, private sector tries to get a much higher rate of return than appropriate. They are trying to sell things too expensively. So people should come in to supervise what the public sector is doing and what the private sector is doing. So essence of what I'm saying is the people, citizens. And let me conclude by reminding you a very specific one vocabulary. It's a biblical vocabulary. It's in a New Testament, in one of the Gospels, John or Matthew or something like that. In kingdom of heaven is at hand. And then this vocabulary, metanoia. It's an original Greek word. You know, New Testament was written in Greek, right? Metanoia. Conventional translation is repent. No, it doesn't mean that way. Metanoia means change your mind. Change your mind. For government people, for city administrations, they have to change their mind. They're not the big brother. They're not the, provider of happiness to the citizens. They are the people who serve the citizens. Okay? They have to admit that they don't know anything. And for citizens, they have to change their mind. They are the owner of the city. While cities are trying to make citizens happy, they can make cities smart and smarter. Thank you very much.
Great. Mr. Lee, I think I take this opportunity to speak on behalf of all the 100 smart cities of India to tell us how to connect with you for PPPP. Please do let us know. And I now invite Mr. Ravi Ranjan Guru, who is a guru of energy systems and climate change. I think on the Sustainable Development Goals, this is one of the very high target. And he also is good at fundraising, I'm told. So we are all having fund crunch. Please help us on that.
My presentation. Thank you, Chairperson, for giving me this opportunities, and I'd like to thank the organizer for giving the opportunity to speak on behalf of All India Institute of Local Self-Government. I think this topic is very interesting because AIILSG most of the time works on those areas and component, and I think these two delegates from UCLG and the LGA there, the AIILSG has played a role. So I will speak about how that AIILSG has been supporting in all those components, where the cities has the lot of challenges day to day in terms of providing the technical and knowledge sharing. Next slide. AIILSG is a very old organization, established in 1926, pre-independent. We have, if you see the map of India and most of the region that AIILSG has been covering, we have today more than almost 50 regional centers, plus 50 regional centers across India, covering the entire geographical region of India. We are also working with the South Asia area through the UCLG-APAC network, because the AIILSG is the office of UCLG-APAC for India and the Southwest Asia. And thanks BAM and LGA office for supporting this entire program. Next slides. We are part of all the empaneled agencies through the different projects and program of Government of India. We are supporting to the various urban local bodies in India. working on a different, if you look at that, we are working on all capacity building programs where the AIILSG has a very strong footholds. We are very strongly working more than almost, maybe I say that more than 100 cities in India in terms of providing the capacity building programs. We keep doing a lot of advocacy work on the seminar and the programs. We do a lot of research studies because that's the area where we thought that the cities are much needed because they need a lot of, those supporting technical areas where the AIILSG is doing a lot of research activities. We support the cities in terms of projects like in Smart City and the GIS-based master plan. I'll talk about later on. We have a lot of publication. We have the Urban Update, which is a monthly magazine. We also working on the rural and tribal initiatives. We are also working on the various infrastructural related activities. Next, please. Look into that, how these 5 I'll see that components where the AIILSG is very strongly helping the urban local bodies in India. Under the different programs of Government of India's missions like ICBP, Amrut, Swachh Bharat Mission, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, National Urban Livelihood Missions, AIILSG has been providing a lot of training programs. In fact, last year in ministry's data says that the AIILSG is the organization who has done the maximum number of training programs in India. We trained more than 5,000 urban local bodies, government official, ma'am, and in a various subject areas in terms of urban planning, in terms of Swachh Bharat missions, in terms of administration, revenue. So all those 5 different models that Government of India is talking about. Through these different activities we are doing. We are also working on some of the areas where the cities are required a lot of GIS-based master plans. So we are working on a GIS-based master plan in Arunachal. We are supporting more than 600 municipalities through the service level benchmarking. We are also working on the National Urban Poverty Reduction programs. Next, please. Because in AIILSG we thought that because the urban areas in India is really a vast and the cities has a lot of challenges in a different aspect and area. So we have created a lot of institution within the AIILSG to support and provide those technical aspects. So like we have the one GIS cell, we have a solid waste management cell, we have an energy conservation building code cell which is running more than 17 states at the moment. We also have a heritage and infrastructure cell, and we are running there are a number of, like we have a National Fire Academy, we also have the PRUDA where we are talking about the research and activity. So within the AIILSG also, because of the need, and we keep adding those value in our organization. Today we have more than maybe a 10 to 12 within the AIILSG institution. Next, please. Like I said, that AIILSG is bridging the gap, or we are working as a network between the Indian urban local bodies and across the globe. Like UCLG-APAC, we are very active member of UCLG-APAC, CityNet, and all those network where we always try to bring the urban local bodies from India to the various other part of the world where they can learn and see what other things are happening in that part of the world. At the same time, we keep bringing those experts to India also so that urban local bodies can get those knowledge and technical support. So these are the various agencies through which AIILSG has been working through the international affiliation. Next, please. We have the national affiliation also, like we are working with National Institute of Urban Affairs. We are working with the Government of India's all missions. Next, please. Because we are training institute, so we have the all in-house facilities. So these all are centers. So if you look at the right corner, this is a Delhi office. We have the in-house capacity of the residential capacity also for the those who are coming for the getting the training here. So the left is Mumbai head office, then Goa campus. Next, please. These are the various campuses across India. So we have a Ahmedabad center, we have a Belgaum, Baroda. Next. These are the various infrastructure within the institution system. Next, please. Just skip. So these are the various centers. Skip. Next, please. Next. Why we are working on those areas? Because we thought that if you have a good infrastructure and all the facilities, then providing the trainings and knowledge sharing would be very easier for us. So that's the reason most of the centers we have the basic infrastructures, and that's the reason we are providing the maximum number of training programs. Next, please. In terms of projects, next. In terms of project, we are, like I said, that AIILSG has been working in all the aspect of the urban areas in terms of talking about the development plans, GIS-based master plan, solid waste management, and special cells and task force. These all projects are listed here where we are working and we have worked, so I don't want to go each and every, because this presentation will be available for all of us, all of you. So please go through. In there any question, I would be very happy to answer. Next, please. We are also working on the smart cities. Like I said, that we have developed the 6 smart cities during the development, during the challenge round. And out of that, Raipur, Bilaspur was, Raipur, I remember, came 4th in rank. We are also providing the skill development programs. We have a very good skill team who has been supporting and providing the training more than 15,000 youth every year to the different centers. And these youth, if you convert, at minimum 75% they are getting placement in at the various industrial and maybe service sector. So that's the major area where AIILSG has been supporting the Government of India's programs. We do a lot of IAC activities. We are supporting the Srinagar Municipal Corporation on the project management support unit for providing the various IAC related to solid waste management. There are some cities in Jharkhand, Gujarat, where the AIILSG is also supporting on those. Next, please. Next, these are the all experience. Last slide is there. We are also supporting the smart cities implementation phase. Right now, Aligarh Municipal Corporation, we have supporting the under the SPV system. We are providing the human resources on those posts, and AIILSG has been engaged for implementation of a smart city project in Aligarh. So this is all. There are a lot of other experience at AIILSG, but thinking on those topics related to this sessions, I kept accordingly. So we would be very happy, and I would be very happy to take questions if there is any query. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Guru. And with this, I thank all the speakers on the dais. I'm told by the organizers it is time for the next session. And you can keep your questions for the networking lunch, which is between 1:15 to 2 p.m. here. And
before we close, I would like to request our chairperson, Dr. Shalini Rajneesh, to give out mementos to our speakers. Ms. Thanawan. Mr. Mohamed Shafeeg Mahmood. He's from Maldives. Mr. Kyong-Yul-Lee, Secretary General, World Smart Sustainable Cities Organization. Last but not the least, Mr. Ravi Ranjan Guru. Now may I request Richa from Exhibitions India to give a memento to our esteemed chairperson, or the lady, Dr. Shalini Rajneesh.
This is also, you should announce कि NDMC की तरफ से SDMC mayor has sent.
We have some mementos from the SDMC people for the speakers on the dais. Ms. Thanawan, please take your gift from SDMC. Mr. Mahmood, please take your gift from NDMC. Mr. Guru. And Mr. Kyong-Yul-Lee, please take the gift. Mr. Guru. Thank you. We start the next session.
would request you all to please be seated because we are starting a next session, which will be civic engagement and participation.